What's up? Welcome into your Buckeye Rush Hour for a Friday, May 3rd, 2024. Hope you guys are having a good end to the week. You made it. You made it to a freaking Friday. Go get yourself a Friday cocktail or whatever the case may be. Today, we're talking portal reaction. Please, while you're at it, as you're coming through the door, please hit the like button. I know you guys are mostly subscribed, but hey, make sure you're subscribed for me. I appreciate that. You get notified whenever we go live, and if anything new comes out, any new content, any new videos, so you'll get alerted to that stuff. So I will get to your comments as you're coming into the chat. Just me today, Jeff and Sean again taking a vacation from their vacation, and they can't be bothered. Anyways, so I'm going to talk about the guys we lost. We've actually lost quite a bit. If you go back to December, that portal period, we've lost like 20 dudes. I know we only lost 6 here post spring game, but if you include the guys from December, it's close to 20. It's right around 20. I'd have to double check the numbers, but that's kind of a lot. That's like of 85 scholarship players, that's like 25%, right? Close to it. So the last group here that we're going to talk about today, I don't know. You could say there are a couple surprises in there. Maybe one dude that we wish we hadn't got away, but you kind of understand it. And then we'll dig into the scholarship grid and kind of estimate who we need out of the portal, because we need some dudes. I was thinking of safety, honestly. I know we got some quality at the top of the room, and that's the case with a lot of these. I've been doing the post-spring position breakdowns for each position, and a lot of these position groups are top-heavy. They got like seniors, that are the starters. Then underneath that is like just inexperienced guys that are young, So that's the problem here. That's not a good thing to have. I mean, it's good for a 1-year run like we're trying to make in 2024 for the Natty, but long term, 2025 could be a fucking nightmare, in my opinion. So we'll get into all that stuff. You do have recruits coming in the 25 class. I realize that, but you can't start all freshmen. You can't. It just physically is not possible. So we'll get into our needs. Obviously, OLine is a big need. That's first and foremost. So let's get into it. Starting off with the first man in, Dallin Hayden actually announced he was going in before the portal opened. So we saw flashes of his potential as a true freshman. He had the weird redshirt year last year. Still, we don't have a clear explanation why that happened. So at least Dallin Hayden's got 3 years to work with. Showing up in Colorado seems like the worst possible place for any player. I don't care who you are, unless your name ends in Sanders, then you're probably fine. But for a guy like Dallin Hayden, who works hard, does everything right, it seems, I don't know. And his dad has been very much involved in his, let's call it management of his career. So I'm shocked his dad was okay with that, Aaron Hayden. But so anyways, Ryan Day and Tony Alford would hint around at ball security issues or struggles in pass protection. I don't know. Is that really an issue? It seemed like he could have played a lot more. But anyways, so with Travion coming back, Quinshon Judkins, probably the best or top 5 running back in the country. Hayden would have been 3rd string at best, right? So you understand it. Then you got James Peoples, looked really good in the spring game, showed quickness and burst of speed. So, and you got SWD, Sam Williams Dixon. He looked good, very quick feet. probably needs a little more weight, but Peoples and Dallin Hayden probably would have been battling for that third running back in the depth chart, in my opinion. So you don't know what would have happened with that. If Hayden would have been relegated to QB or RB4, the fourth running back, then, maybe that's the situation, or he didn't even want a chance battling for that third running back position. He can go be a starter anywhere, well, almost anywhere, I would say. So we'll see what happens. Good luck to him. But that to me is the only real loss in these portal transactions. But you lost backup safety Cedric Hawkins from Cocoa, which is like 40 minutes from Orlando over on the east coast of Florida. Kind of a toilet over there, in my opinion, unless you find the right vacation spot that's kind of away from all the douchebags that, the spring breakers and stuff. Just my opinion. Just some Florida travel tips for you. I like to throw those in there just for the hell of it. I also like to bang on other shit cities. Anyways, Cedric Hawkins, one season at Ohio State. He seemed like he might have been more of a homebody type. Maybe he wasn't digging Columbus so much. So he's transferring to UCF. So that works for him probably. And UCF's really building something there that I'm surprised. I really can't think that all their NIL money is Disney related. I can't imagine Disney is all that wrapped up in buying players, but maybe there's some other big corporations in the Orlando area. I lived there for like 15 years. So maybe they're just pooling their resources at UCF. It's a big fucking campus. It's like the biggest enrollment, I believe, in the country. It's a huge sprawling campus. But anyways, Cedric Hawkins redshirted as a true freshman. Got his black stripe removed right before the Cotton Bowl, but still wasn't really in the picture in the depth chart, he did have 5 tackles in the spring game. So he got a little tape to put out there and show teams. But you also had Lathan Ransom out. Malik Hartford was out. Both guys are recovering from injuries. JaMarr Carter, he was dinged. Still, I don't know. Is he still dinged up? I don't know. He jumped in the portal too. So we're down 2 safeties. And then, of course, Caleb Downs didn't play a ton in the spring game. He didn't need to. Jaden Bonsu, redshirt freshman, looked good in the spring game. He had walk-on Inky Jones get a pick in that game. And then Jalen McLean, the true freshman, looked good in the spring game. So I would say not a huge loss with Cedric Hawkins, but it more is a depth loss, I would say, than anything. And let's go right into JaMarr Carter. He was a Power 5 starter at Syracuse before he came to Ohio State last year. So really thought he was going to be a plug and play guy. Not sure exactly where in that secondary, but he couldn't stay healthy. Went through a couple injuries, I believe, and really didn't even. He got into 8 games. I don't remember it. Let me pull up the snap counts because I don't remember him seeing 8 games. It wasn't very many snaps. I do know that. Carter. Safety, yes. 122 snaps. Okay, so he had 47 in week 2, then just sprinkled throughout the rest of the snaps were sprinkled throughout the year. He had did not play in 3 games, had a few games of just special teams. I guess his on-field play just wasn't that memorable for me anyways. So played against, he had 5 tackles, 2 against Youngstown State, 3 against Purdue. I don't know. He missed both spring games with a foot issue. So, again, the loss there is the depth, not a starter level, So that's why I say we're going to have to go into the portal for safeties. We just lost two. And then again, top heavy position. You got Caleb Downs, Lathan Ransom. All right. So that's great. But then what's in between? You got true freshmen and redshirt freshmen, and Hartford, who's recovering from an injury, who's a second year guy. So there's just limited experience in the middle there. Let's talk O-line. Enoch Vamahi. He the Hawaiian is heading elsewhere, taking his Polynesian ways. So good dude. Seemed like a really soft-spoken kid. You hate to see guys like this leave the program, but he really hadn't played much at all. He played in that Cotton Bowl, and it was a train wreck. He also played against the Cheaters. Was it 2 years ago? 1 year ago. I think it was a 2023 game. He played started a game against the Cheaters, got olayed left and right. So yeah, last year Vamahi had 100 snaps right on the button. Played a lot of special teams. Couple did not plays, and then had virtually no snaps to speak of, then 57 in the Cotton Bowl. The coaches probably just threw their hands up at that point. They're like, fuck it. We need somebody in there that knows the plays. But that was a really rough outing. So he'll probably go somewhere. He can start somewhere else. He only has 1 year. Same with JaMarr Carter. He only has 1 year. So it's like now or never situation for those guys. And the Buckeyes on O-line, you really had Luke Montgomery, Tegra Shabola working in there at the right guard position. That's the only spot Enoch would have even been close to taking. You're not gonna remove Donovan Jackson from the left guard, and probably not even going to back up Donovan Jackson with Vamahi. You got Hinsman also working in at the right guard. I'm not a big fan of that personally, but it doesn't matter. The point is, you got three guys battling for that right guard job, and Vamahi was getting passed by, obviously. So good luck to him. I would go play for your hometown school, man. Go play for University of Hawaii. Next up, Nigel Glover, the linebacker, a late transfer from Northwestern last summer. Didn't want to be all involved with the weenie washes and things like that, so understandable. I would get the hell out of there too. So was a late arrival to Ohio State. Never really had a shot of cracking the lineup, and he's another guy that's just gotten recruited over. When you think about guys coming in like Arvell Reese, you still got Gabe Powers, CJ Hicks, Sonny Styles moves from safety down to linebacker. That makes it really fucking tough, right? Cody Simon, on his last season. So there's a lot of depth there, and it's good quality depth. So it would have probably taken a while for Glover to crack the rotation, even as a backup. So not surprised that he takes off. He's from the Columbus area, but he could easily go play and start at a MAC school. And I would kind of point him in that direction if I were a coach or somebody. And then Keon Gray's the last guy, came in, jumped into the portal at the last second. Another member of that 2022 class that Heartline has swung and missed 3 times on that class. Caleb Burton, Caleb Brown, Keon. Now Kojo is like the last one left in the house in the horror movie, right? Being chased down by Mike Myers. So injuries didn't help. He also took a redshirt year, his freshman year, but multiple injuries. There was no path to playing time for Grays. Again, he can take what he learns under Brian Hartline and go start somewhere, hopefully. Again, you may want to take a step down in competition level. Just my thoughts if you want to play right now. And the clock's always ticking. He already used his red shirt, did not play at all this past season. So it's time to get on the field and get some tape out there for your future, whether it's NFL, UFL, CFL, AFL, whatever the fuck. But good luck to Keon with a room where you're getting recruited over with the likes of Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith, Brandon Ennis. I mean, fuck, when those guys come in, you probably just turn around and start packing your shit. It's not easy. But anyways, all the best to those guys. Let's look at the needs. I got the scholarship chart here. Quarterback, obviously not a need. We have 5. You might have heard. Running back, I would say, is a need if we're not going to give TC Caffy a scholarship. We always want 5 running backs on scholarship in the room. We have 4 right now. Wide receiver, we have 8. So theoretically, you could add one. I don't think they will, just to get your numbers up, because typically they like to have 11. According to Ryan Day's numbers, I have these right here. So yeah, running backs, they like to have 5, wide receivers, 11. And I said they had 8. So I don't think Heartland will go into the portal. You do have Mylan Graham coming in this summer, so that makes 9. So hopefully you don't run into a rash of injuries. But you're playing 3 at a time. So with 9, you only have 3 rotations there, So getting by, but tight ends, I personally would like to see a tight end, but they have 6 and they like to have 5. So I guess according to the numbers, they're fine, except 2 of the guys are true freshmen, LeBlanc and Witten. Those guys are coming in this summer, so you can't bank on them. That's why I say you really only have 4. G. Scott, Will Casmir, Bennett Christian, who hasn't played at all, was out with the PED suspension all of last season, and then Jelani Thurman. So I think for depth purposes, I would go get one, and I'm pretty sure Witten is actually going to start off with the receivers to add some depth there. So that gives them 10. I forgot about that. So you can't count on him in the tight end room anyways. OLine, they have 16 right now. The goal is 16, so they're right on the number. But is it a good quality 16 that we have? I don't know. You got Zen Mahalski up there. Hasn't played much at all. George Fitzpatrick. Tegra hasn't played nearly as much as we thought he would. Hinsman probably won't play a lot this year. And then you got the sophomores, second-year guys, and then the true freshmen probably won't play at all. So I feel like they could use another O-lineman just for depth, a quality tackle. If you can find somebody in the portal that's quality, not just a warm body, but a guy that's quality, I would look at that. The UCLA guy is not an option. He's one of the worst tackles in college football last year. Bruno, and I don't want a guy on our team named Bruno. Did you ever see that movie? Yeah, I don't want that guy on my team. Looking at defensive ends over on the defense, we've got 8, but Dominic Kirks is not in yet. He'll be in this summer, so you actually have 7. Probably can't bank on him. I think you got enough to work with, but again, it's a top-heavy position. You got JT and Jack, Mitch Melton. Those guys are all in their last year. Then under that, Kenyatta Jackson, Caden Curry, third-year guys. So they're in the middle there, but haven't played a lot of snaps. Kenyatta and Caden Curry, they played 176 and 166 snap counts last year. So not a lot of experience. Then you got Josh Mickens. He was actually recruited as the jack, to be a jack. He's like 6'3", 230, 235. So he's not a true defensive end, really is a little too light. And then Edric Houston, of course, he's a defensive end. Probably get some playing time this year. I wouldn't doubt it. I don't know if we'll even redshirt him. Might not be able to. But then D tackles. Oh, the numbers for the DNs, they like to have 8. They got that. Same with D tackles. They like to have 8 there. You got Ty Hamilton, Tyleek Williams, another top heavy position with very little experience underneath. Tywone Malone might be a 4th-year guy, but he hasn't played a lot either. Last year, Malone played 49 snaps. 49 snaps as a 4th-year guy. Yeah, that's not good. So then you got Hero Canoe. He's a 3rd-year guy. I see him getting some action as like maybe your 3rd man in, or just at least in the 2 deep. Caden McDonald, Jason Moore is the guy that Larry Johnson talked a lot about. He's getting up there in size. He's up to 6'6" now, over 300 pounds. Will Smith Jr., let's see what he looks like. He had injuries last year he had to deal with. So did he get in the weight room, get some good weight on him, in the year off? Was he able to? So I don't know if I can pencil him into the 2 deep just yet. But again, you're going to need 3 at every position across the board this season. Like all 85 scholarship players are going to be used or fucking close to it, right? So I think you got Tyleek, Ty, then Canoe, Cade McDonald, Jason Moore, and see what happens with Tywone Malone. But they have the numbers they need. Linebackers, 8 there as well. They have the 8, and not a lot of experience outside of Cody Simon, really. Sonny Styles hasn't played at all at linebacker. Now he knows the defense from a safety's point of view, for sure. Does he know the defense from a linebacker point of view? CJ Hicks hasn't played at all, hardly. Gabe Powers has played very little, mostly on special teams. And then Arvell Reese is coming in to his 2nd year. Then Garrett Stover and Peyton Pierce, the true freshman. Pierce had a bad foot coming in. He had a foot injury. And Garrett Stover probably needs to put on some pounds to play linebacker at Ohio State. So, again, Cody Simon, all the snaps there that you need, but you got to get these younger guys experience quickly. So I'd say no linebackers, no D tackles, maybe a DN. Now corners, we have 9. The number we want to hit is 8. And I include the slot, the nickel, whatever, in the corner group. But you got a bunch of dudes with experience. Now you do have Calvin Simpson-Hunt and Jermaine Matthews that have a good amount of experience last year. Jermaine Matthews, 194 snaps. That's legit, almost 200. And then Calvin Simpson-Hunt, 23 last year. But I did like what I saw from Calvin Simpson-Hunt in the spring game. Can he carry that over into the regular season? Because you're going to need to play 4, 5, 6 corners in a 16-game season. I know I keep banging the drum for all the depth and playing the depth, and I know you guys do too, but it's going to be key. You got to get these older players, these seniors, get them out of the freaking games early, let them go get some live snaps, but you don't need to be in there in the 4th quarter of the Akron game, right? So you got Denzel Burke, Jordan Hancock, Davison Igbinosun. Those are your 3 guys that are probably gone after this year anyway. Then you're going to see a rotation. I think you're going to see Lorenzo Styles Jr. at the slot, Calvin Simpson-Hunt at the outside, and Jermaine Matthews can play slot and outside. He trained at both this spring. So after that, you got the true freshman Miles Lockhart at the slot, and then Bryce West, Aaron Scott. Aaron Scott looked good in the spring game. I was impressed with him. He's the stage didn't look too big for him. Bryce West was nursing a little bit of an injury, so not a big deal there. But I don't feel they need any corners at all in the portal. Now, safeties, this is where I feel we're a little thin. Safeties, we got 6. Ransom in his last year, obviously going to be a starter at strong. Then you got Caleb Downs, starter at the free. Then Hartford, nursing an injury, hopefully be recovered by fall camp. Jaden Bonsu impressed me in the spring game. And then Jalen McLean also, the true freshman from both from Jersey. And then Leroy Roker. Don't know what to expect from this guy. He just started playing football a couple years ago in high school. So he went to a small Catholic or Baptist? Anyway, small religious school down in Fort Myers. Did not play top-notch competition, I don't think. So I would say depth there is my concern, like quality depth. I don't know if you can rely on a redshirt freshman and a true freshman to back up Ransom and Downs. Maybe Malik Hartford can play both. If he's been trained at strong and free, maybe. But that makes me nervous. If one guy or two guys go down in that room, you're kind of fucked. So, all right, let's pop in the chat. I'm done talking. I'm tired of talking. You guys talk. Somebody take the mic. Just kidding. Let's start from the top. Good to see everybody coming in. Again, we are taking Sunday off, so sorry, but it's summer. I don't have a lot to talk about by myself. I can't talk for 90 minutes straight. My pipes get a little dry and a little sore, a little hoarse. Just see his first man in OH, IOTU. PC says IO. PC says, howdy y'all, go Bucks. Odysseus says, other than safety, I think we made out great compared to other schools. Yeah, I would agree, especially Alabama, right? Talk about getting fleeced. Yeesh. I can't believe they got, what's his name? The tackle from Iowa. I can't believe he went back there. Anyway, PC says we lost a number of guys since the Mizzou game, but honestly, I think we made it through the portals and spring pretty well. I really like our outlook for the fall. Yes, I would say, I would trade all 20 of the guys that we lost since the end of the season. Well, back in mid-December when the portal opened. It was actually before the Cotton Bowl when that first window opened up. We lost a ton of dudes there, but the 20 combined players with the two portal windows, I'll trade them for Caleb Downs, Seth McLaughlin, even Casmir, throw him in. So, yeah, I'll trade all 20 of those guys for a Caleb Downs. Jeremiah says, Buckeyes Nation, how are we doing today? Very good, Jeremiah. Good to see you. Odysseus says Colorado should change their name to the Rodeo Clowns. Yeah. They just keep digging it deeper, don't they? They just keep digging the hole deeper. It's like they're standing in their own grave and they just keep digging and digging. Whew, what a mess. Yeah, they are fucking clowns. It's pathetic. PC says Dallin is the only one of the consequence that I didn't want to see go. He was mismanaged big time by the coaches. That's really too bad. I wonder what the underlying issues were with him. Yeah. Well, the coaches said ball security and pass protection. We'll see. Let's see him get 15, 20 carries a game and see if those issues crop up. Because then it'll be like, when he plays at Colorado, it'll be like, okay, so those are the issues. There's still issues. Or it can be like, well, he fixed his issues, so what's the excuse now, Tony Alford? I really don't understand how Aaron Hayden, Dallin's dad, was okay with a red shirt last year. PC says, that being said, Peoples and SWD look fantastic. I agree. Throw a little bit of poundage on them, a little body armor, and they'll be good to go for this season. Plenty of time for that. Odysseus says, don't forget TC Caffy as fourth back. He'd be the fifth, but they like to have 5 scholarship backs, plus walk-ons. So I don't know. They like TC Caffy, obviously. He's going into his 3rd year on the team as a walk-on. So I think they're probably going to wait and see how how this roster shakes down. And I think you got to be down to the 85 by August 1st. So if they're under the 85 and they got a couple free scholarships to work with, and there's no grad transfers out there, because keep in mind with the portal, Tuesday was just the deadline for players to get in. They can pop out anytime. That's how we got Josh Simmons last year. Remember? We got him around this time, like a little later into May a year ago. So we can still bring in players. So I'm saying for TC Caffey's sake, if we have a couple extra scholarships, like say we're down to 83, 84, I say give the guy a freaking scholarship, make him the 5th running back in that room. Odysseus says we're still deep at RB. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. Yeah, just not experience. We have 2 top level 1A, 1B running backs, then no experience. 2 true freshmen. We don't have a junior, sophomore, nothing in the middle. That's my concern. You got to have some depth, somebody that's played D1 ball before. That's my concern, especially if you have injuries. It's freaking football, man. Every position group is going to have an injury. You're guaranteed that. It's rare that a quarterback, running back, O-line, whatever, it's rare that you go through a season and nobody gets hurt. And again, I'm going to keep banging on it. So she said, a 16-game season, man. That's tacking on 4 more games to your regular season. Yes, there are 2 bye weeks in this season, but still, it's still a 16-game season. You're not going to heal from a broken leg over a bye week. But yes, we got to get depth, quality depth everywhere. PC says I'm normally not big on walk-ons, but TC looks great too. I hope he gets a scholarship. Yeah, we'll see. Just to keep it all, to lay out all the cards, he only has like 66 yards rushing total in his career at Ohio State in games. 49 of those yards came on that 1 carry against Toledo. I said that twice for effect. So just keep that in mind when we're talking TC Caffey. I like him too, but keep that in mind. Jeremiah says the excitement is starting to build, Joe. It's only May 3rd. Once August gets here, our excitement for this coming season will really be unleashed. Go Buckeyes. That's very true. Cannot contain myself. I forgot to pour a drink. God damn it. Anyway, Odysseus says I'm pumped for late August, September. Yeah. And everything's going to start a week earlier. Season starts the last weekend of August. So keep that in mind. That means fall camp's going to start about 5 weeks prior to that. So you're talking late July. Fall camp kicks off. Then you got your final position battles. You're going to look at, the final quarterback battle. Hopefully we get a decision before week 1. I'm praying. Let's not go through a battle like last year that yielded us a Honda McCord. So yeah, August and September is going to be interesting. Odysseus says he played first quarter versus cheaters in 22. Dallin? Yeah, Dallin did. Yeah. I don't know why he didn't go back in the game. All they had was freaking chip. That was it. Maybe it wasn't. I think mine might have been in there, but he wasn't 100% if he was. Odysseus said had to bring in Fryer to replace him. Oh, you're talking Enoch. Yeah, exactly. 2022 is what I was thinking. And then Enoch played in that Cotton Bowl Missouri game. PC says I'm really hoping Coach Mick puts the O-line through the ringer over the summer. Sure, we will have the guys who can do it, and they'll be better than last year. The question is how much better. Exactly. I think year two of this O-line, for the most part, the core of it has to be better. Being used to each other, um, has to help, right? I know you're adding in a new center, but he's a fifth year guy, and he's played 25 games for Alabama in the SEC. So I think adding that helps. The maturity, being through the wars and the battles before helps, versus a Hinsman who was just fresh off the milk truck. But we'll see. Yeah. Odysseus says, yeah, no way this O-line can't be great. They're mostly high 4 stars. It's not like we have a bunch of 2 stars. It's a good point. Fair point. Yeah, it's about developing, right? Again, Justin Fry has been here for 2 years. So let's see that development track. 2 years, second year for Josh Simmons. Some coaches on the staff think he's the best O-lineman on the team. I don't know. He does have some of the better grades, I will say, on the team. I was going to try and pull up blocking grades here real quick while we're talking about him. Clear. 1 second. Ohio State. There we go. Okay. So, yeah. Snaps. Let's take away tight ends and running backs. Okay. So, yeah. Zen Mahalski, just 21 snaps last year. I'm not going to count his grades. Vic Cutler left. Donovan Jackson had a 67 and a 72 run and pass. Josh Simmons, a 65 and a 72 run and pass. Pressures allowed. Simmons did lead the team. No, he did not. He had 15. Carson Hinsman led the team with 17 pressures, but no sacks. Simmons, 15 pressures, 1 sack. Josh Fryer, 13 pressures, 5 sacks. Donovan Jackson, 10 pressures, 1 sack. Matthew Jones, 7 pressures, no sacks. Kind of shocking that Matthew Jones can go undrafted with him having the best stats, the least pressures on the team. But back to the chat here. PC says 9 wide receivers are good, 11 is excessive. Those are the numbers that Ryan Day laid out a long time ago. So, and they play 3 at a time. You got to remember that, So I could see, I mean, if 2 or 3 guys get injured, then you're down to 2 rotations of 3. That can quickly put you in a hole. So, yeah. Odysseus says, is there any truth to the Presbyterian College wide receiver transfer as a return man? I haven't heard anything about that. From Presbyterian, huh? You want to put him back there catching balls? I don't know about that. Yeah, I got nothing on that dude. I'll have to look him up later in the transfer portal tracker. Check it out. Odysseus says may give Patrick Gerd a Scally at tight end. That's fine. I'm fine with that. He can play. I think he could probably play that Mitch Rossi fullback role too. So we can bring back some of that stuff as just a curveball. The occasional wrinkle in the offense. So, and use him obviously as a blocking back, things like that. So, yeah, Gerd's another guy that I like at tight end. I'm fine with that. PC says, what's up with tight end? Seems like some can catch, some can run routes, some can block well, but none of them can do it all. Someone needs to step it up. Yeah, I'm with you there, PC. G. Scott's been there the longest. Casmir is going into his 4th year. So, but he's only had like 20 catches over in 2 separate years. So that's not really lighting it up, is he? Bennett Christian, last year was weird for him because all he could do was run scout team at practice. He was never running the Buckeye offense. So he's probably still getting acquainted with that. He's coming into his 3rd year. Jelani, we got to see what's going on with Jelani. Is he ready to play both parts of being a tight end? We know he's a freak athletically. He could, in open spaces, give him the ball, obviously. Throw it up, make him go get it, with those long arms. Perfect. But can he put his hand in the dirt and move somebody off the line of scrimmage, whether it's a defensive end, a linebacker? He's got to be able to be a 4 down, every down kind of tight end. So that's the question. G. Scott needs to prove that too, in my opinion. We haven't really seen that out of him, a complete tight end. I think Casmir might be the closest thing we have to a complete tight end. He's a big freaking dude. So let's look up Casmir. How do you spell that shit? Let's look him up, see how he did last year. I'm kind of curious along the PFF grades here. Blocking. Let's search for Casmir. Okay. Blocking. Casmir. Run blocking. Okay. So not great. Overall on the season, he averaged a 69.4. So above average. 60s doing your job, the bare minimum. Against a couple teams, he was in the 40s. Against Central Michigan, 56. Iowa State, 56. 64 versus Akron, 66 versus Bowling Green. Georgia Southern, 66. Against Miami of Ohio, 68. Western Michigan, 69.6. FAU is 71.5. San Diego State, 72.7. Against Kent State, 78.1. So run blocking, kind of hit and miss there. It seemed like every other week was a bad week for him as far as the season went. Pass blocking, he's not asked to do a lot of that. He had a couple 3 bad games pass blocking against San Diego State, Miami of Ohio, and Georgia Southern. Like I'm talking 30, 46, and a 39. So pressures on the season. He only allowed 1 pressure. So that's good. No sacks. So in the pass protection, that's great, but we need him to be strong in the run game, right? When we want to run 12 personnel with 2 tight ends and, whoever's getting the ball in the backfield, we need the tight ends to obviously hold their blocks and move somebody. But yeah, back to the point that PC laid out, we're still trying to find guys that can do both, unfortunately. Odysseus says, blocking tight end was a big issue past couple of years, honestly, since 2020 when we had Farrell and Ruckert. Excellent point. Luke Farrell could do both. Ruckert, better catcher than blocker, but Cade Stover, we know, we well documented his blocking issues. He doesn't like to hear it. I know he was a captain and all that stuff. Great Buckeye, yes, but you got to keep it real and point out people's faults. The tight end blocking has to improve. It has to. I was going to go back just to torture us. Just going to go back and talk about tight end blocking since PC brought it up. So run blocking is what we're talking about, right? So run blocking, Jelani Thurman actually had the best run blocking grade of the tight ends last year, a 73.9. Now, that was only on 19 snaps. So not a big sample size. Joe Royer, a 56 on 23 snaps, run blocking only. Cade Stover, a 54 on 282 snaps. That's below average. Patrick Gerd, 49.1 run blocking on 29 snaps. So again, small sample size. And then G. Scott Jr. at 41.1, the worst last year on 208 run blocking snaps. So, yeah. Did I make the point there? I hope so. Yeah, PC says, I agree. Emil Coates says, great show. Thank you, Emil. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. You look lovely tonight. PC says CSH and Matthews, those guys are going to be the future of BIA. I agree. PC says, hey, Joe, what was that helmet all about that SWD had on during the spring game concussion protocol? I think he may have had a head injury previously in spring practice. Not necessarily that week, but maybe it could have been weeks ago. It's just an extra precaution. It's called a what the fuck's that thing called? We talked about it last Sunday night. Because the NFL is actually allowing players to wear those in games next season. They just passed it this past week. So I don't know who's going to be the first one to wear it in a game, but yeah, it's called like a Titan cap or something. Protection Guardian caps. I'm a fucking moron. Sorry. So yeah, Guardian cap. That's what it's called. So yeah, probably Sam Williams-Dixon had a little bit of a head injury at some point during camp. I saw Denzel Burke wearing one as well. So I don't think you're going to see anybody wearing them in games. I do wonder if the NFL is going to set the tone and break the ice there. And if you see anybody wearing those this coming season, because it's just an added protective pad, so the question is, can you be flagged for launching if you have a protective pad on your helmet? Seems like they should get carte blanche, right? They should be able to do whatever they want with their heads, right? I mean, they got extra protection. It's like wearing two rubbers, right? You can go nuts. That doesn't make sense. Anyways, Odysseus says, cheater fans already having buyer's remorse with Benedict Alford. Yeah. I cannot believe Alford got beat on a recruit. It is pretty awesome that it was Kentucky. It wasn't even a real school, man. It was fucking Kentucky. It wasn't somebody with big bags like Miami. Oh. You know what my best advice to Benedict Alford is just go back to South Florida, try pulling another one of those guys out. Go after Byron Lewis. Go get Byron Lewis out of American Heritage. What could go wrong? South Florida's been more than fruitful for Benedict. But yeah. Yeah, that's a good chuckle. Odysseus says Coach Locke is a huge upgrade, I feel. Yeah. He's got the energy. He's full of piss and vinegar, and he works out. All things Alford did not. Tony Alford was lazy on the recruiting trail. That's been documented over and over. Coach Locke is not. So I feel really good about Coach Locke. PC says to close it out, I still can't believe we kept all 5 QBs. I'm glad we did, but I didn't expect that. Future is looking bright there too. I tried to warn you guys, PC. I've been saying it all spring. I said, don't be surprised if we go into fall camp with all 5 quarterbacks. Everybody else on the Buckeye beats like, somebody's got to go. Somebody's got to leave. We can't have 5. How are you going to get 5 quarterbacks reps? Even Urban Meyer was singing the same tune on the spring game broadcast. Well, here we go. Throw your 5 quarterbacks on the table and let's go. I try to tell you guys, man. Odysseus says those helmet pads look goofy. Yeah, I know, man. Catch me wearing one of those. PC says rubbers are for sailors, never for me. All right. Decius says cheater fans complain Kentucky paid more and they don't do that talk about hypocrisy. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Rubbers are for sailors. They ought to wear them. Those filthy buggers. They go from port to port. Mm. Uh, yeah, it's always something with cheater fans. We got outbought. That's always the fucking go-to line every time they lose a commit. We were outbought. Buckeyes had big bags. Big Blue, Kentucky had big bags. Whoever else, it's hilarious. Odysseus says, seems like they forget about their one more year funding. Exactly. Yeah, weren't they charging to get into the national championship celebration there at the basketball arena? Weren't they charging for admittance? I think they were charging that and the money went to the NIL collections. Missed that one, huh? All right, PC, appreciate you. Take care. Um, good talking to you. It's always a one-way conversation, right? Just kidding. So yeah, um, I'm going to try and stick around for the Friday live shows. Sundays, we're going to take probably 2 weeks off unless something crazy pops up. We do have some serious movement in this court case, the compensation for not just football players and basketball players, but all athletes. Looks like there's another model that's being released. The latest one was from Yahoo Sports. Ross Dellinger reported that a new athlete compensation model that could cost the power schools 300 million each over 10 years, so 30 mil a year. That seems like a big dollar amount. A lot of these athletic departments are in the red already. So yeah. So some of these stipulations, I mean, none of this is going to happen until the players start collect each other and get into a union so they can collectively bargain with the schools or the NCAA, whoever is managing this deal. So you're looking at a 17 to $22 million revenue distribution cap. So that's the most they could hit for all athletes total. And you got $2 million in back damages. Previous, basically it's for dudes that are part of a class action suit, like Troy Smith, or just guys that could have gotten NIL money back in the day. They're part of a class action suit. So $2 million per school for that. Then you got 10 million in additional scholarship costs, and which really is about roster sizes expanding. I've been talking about this for a while. Thank you, Odysseus. I appreciate you. You got to expand these rosters as part of this growth, this compensation model. Just a couple more minutes here. I'll wind down. If you guys have any quick thoughts, I'll go through them. But got to expand from 85 scholarships to 95. If you're going to expand the playoffs, you got to expand the rosters. It's very simple math. Guys are going to go down during the season. It's obvious, right? I mean, so that one's huge to me. So this $30 million price tag is kind of wishy-washy anyways, but I think it doesn't mean a thing until the athletes are part of a union, So anyways, please hit the like button on the way out the door. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for popping in. And Keep an eye out for the Daily Blitz every morning in your YouTubes or your podcasts, and hope you enjoy it. Please leave a like on those and make sure you're subscribed. If you're listening on podcast, hey, follow this show or subscribe, whatever app you use. If you leave a 5-star review, I will give you a high five. All right. So I got for you today. Talk to you later. Go Bucks.